The motherfucking world is a ghetto, full of magazines, full clips, and heavy metal when the smoke settles. I'm just looking for a big yellow. It's 6 stilettos, Dr. Dre. Hello. Percolating, keep 'em waiting while you sitting there hating. Your bitch is hyperventilating, hoping that we penetrating. You get named, cause I've never been the same. I'm hardcore, I'm illustrating, gangs ain't affiliating. MC Renner, how you wildin' on the phone in a whole half a gallon. It's a gallon. 911 emergency, you can tell him. It's my son, he's hurting and he's a felon. On patrol for robbery, ain't no copping the plea, ain't no stopping the G. I'm in the section, got to hop in the free. Company monopoly, you handle shit sloppily, properly. They call me the Don Dada, pop a collar, drop a dollar. If you hear me, you can holler, even rock wallers. Follow the Impala, wanna talk about this concrete nigga, I'm a scholar, the incredible, heterosexual, credible. Let it go, dick ain't edible, nigga ain't credible. I'm playing shit while you hand big motherfuckers giving up transcript. I started this gangsta shit, and this the motherfucking thanks I get. I started this gangsta shit, and this the motherfucking thanks I get. I started this gangsta shit, and this the motherfucking thanks I get. I started this gangsta shit, and this the motherfucking thanks I get. Till it blows up your spot. Take your notebook, your bitch, and your block. This motherfucker thought the coochie had a padlock. You slapped her ass, that's alarming. Cause she want my worm like Coleman. We can't check niggas, them bed check niggas.
All right. Hi. Hey everyone, 277 people watching right now. That's nice. That's a good thing. Yeah. Good to be here tonight. Of course, I just finished the drawing stream, and I was about to start up the Comicsgate Live. And I went upstairs. I just said, "Hey, yeah, that was fun." You know, I was drawing again online. You know, I did a nice live drawing stream, and Andrea said, "Yeah, what are you gonna do now?" And I said, "Well, I got to do Comicsgate Live, 9:00." And she said, "What about lottery tickets?" She's like, and I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, tonight there's like this Mega Millions Powerball thing. She's like, it's only $859 million. And I was like, we're not going to win. And she's like, well, how do you know unless we play? I'm like, so I did have to go out. I got in the car and ran over to Wawa. We do just a little bit better at Wawa. And I got some lottery tickets. I think I spent $40 on lottery tickets. I don't care. What if we do win? Yeah, it's $1 billion, actually. It did say 1 billion when I bought the tickets. What if I did win $1 billion? What would I do?
Would you still do this?
Yeah, I would. Even more.
Hire more people.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. I enjoy doing this. This is what I want to be doing. I'm not doing this for... I'm not doing this because I have to do this. I'm doing this because it's fun. Like, I would start a radio show. If I had $1 billion, I would actually... How would I improve this? Yeah, I think I would be more like Joe Rogan. You know, I would have like a really nice setup. It would be cool. It would be really, really cool. And Jay Pot says, and pay $900 million in taxes. Well, you know, it's about right.
Right.
What would the taxes be on $1 billion?
Not too much.
Well, you would be like in a 40% tax bracket. The write-offs you'd have to create just to hold on to that money.
Yeah,
it would be nuts. You'd have to buy a radio station, I think, for a write-off.
Yeah, I mean, I would do something like that. I mean, what would you do? What would you guys do?
Me, I would be like you. I would keep doing what I do because I love it. And if I had that kind of money, I would just keep creating, without boundaries. The only thing that's kind of slowing me down now is money. So if I had unlimited funds like that, gosh, I'd be making my own stupid movies, and I wouldn't even care if anybody saw them or not. You know what I mean? I'd be like making $20 million or $15 million movies and just putting them out, you know, and just having a good old time writing and directing stuff. And
I probably, I think I would not make movies. I don't want to make any movies, but I would probably help people a lot more. Like, actually, I was thinking about it in the car coming home, and I was like, I would end up giving $1 million to Mike Miller. I don't know why I thought Mike Miller. I would just give, if I had $500 million, I would give, it's like saying, if you had $500, would you give $1 to Mike Miller? Yes, I would. Of course.
And, and to know that you could fundamentally change somebody's life, you know, like that. And it's a simple gesture if you had that kind of money, you know, it doesn't really hurt you.
He looks like he's good for it.
He looks like he's good for it.
Yeah. I get the first thing. Go ahead.
I want to change people's lives. I would want to change people's lives and make people's lives better. Question Comics says I wouldn't give anything to Mike Miller. I don't know why that's funny, but that strikes me as funny. I would give things to Mike Miller. I don't know why. I just feel like I would.
I gave a drawing to Mike Miller. I did a Lone Star drawing and I gave it to him. So yeah, I would do the same.
Derek F says that would be $1 per kid. Yeah, it's true. Mike has a big family. That's why, you know, I look at him and I go, oh boy, yeah. You know, I'm going to make sure Mike keeps working any way I can. All right. Welcome to Comicsgate Live, everyone. My name is Ethan Van Sciver. We have about 500 people watching now, so it's a good time to really get into things. Frank Martin joins me from Galactic Comet. His comic is already on Indiegogo. And then, of course, we've got RT Bear. And RT Bear is doing a book called Black and White, which is a revamp of a comic he did in the 1990s, huh?
Yes, 1994, Image Comics. It's been a 25-year dream for me. The dream of Black and White has never gone away in all that time. So the time was right to bring it back. The platform that you built, Ethan, and all the viewers coming in has given me the opportunity to bring it back in a big way and to fund this thing and hopefully keep doing more projects.
Yeah.
So thanks to everybody.
Well, I mean, it's these people. I mean, it's the people who are watching who make this happen and make it work out. Nasser's here. Hi, Nasser.
Hey, Ethan. Hey,
Good
everybody.
Hey, Nasser.
So tonight is a $1 billion lottery drawing, I guess, all over the country. I mean, I'm seeing that you bought tickets, didn't you?
Yeah, I got my tickets.
How many did you get?
Just 2.
Oh, there you go.
You got 2? How much did you spend?
$4.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I spent $40 because I think I did spend $40. I don't buy lottery tickets. I buy scratch-off tickets once in a while. I'll buy one scratch-off ticket. Just when I'm feeling lucky, just to, you know, reconfirm how lucky I am. I usually break even if not win. I always get like, hey, I spent $20 on a scratch off ticket. Look, I won $20. So that always happens to me. But I don't buy lottery tickets. You know, I've never, you know. So Andrea sent me out to do it. We'll see. Eric M. Boyd says, say goodbye to your money. I know. I can spare $40 to make Andrea happy. I don't know if it'll make her happy.
I don't know what I don't know what my reaction would be if I won, but I already know what I'd do.
What would you do?
I would get a nice building and make a lot of comics and have like just a really official company, like get everything like right into shops, being able to have all the money to do so.
Yeah. I would try to find a way to crush my enemies. Like, how would I guess I'd probably become more of a mob boss, and I would definitely crush my enemies.
Well, you'd have the money to build that trebuchet for sure.
The trebuchet, right?
No,
I would fling people into the air left and right. I would absolutely fling people into the air. I would definitely become a monster. Rastock says hire Wendig and fire him. Well, I mean, I would if I were a Russian bot, but apparently I'm only associated with Russian bots and control Russian bots like this. Star Wars writer Chuck Wendig's Twitter appears to have been targeted by bots.
Oh gosh, is everything ever just bots?
I know.
I thought they were sock puppets.
Ethan,
Well,
you already got that for free. You don't need to spend any money. You got that for free.
Yeah. I seem to be in control of. Let's read this article. This is insane, by the way, and it's not just. Apparently, I'm in the Washington Post as the person who got Chuck Wendig fired. The Mary Sue is talking about me here. I got Chuck Wendig fired. Now, listen. Are you? I don't know how to respond to this. I didn't get Chuck Wendig fired. I wish I did. I wish it was me that got Chuck Wendig fired. Look at this. Bots. Let's read the Mary Sue first because it's funnier. Bots probably helped get Chuck Wendig fired because Twitter is a cesspool. The graphs speak for themselves. Kate Gardner, you dummy. And I don't even know you, but you dummy. Do you think Marvel Comics sits there and goes, what are all the bots saying? Look at all this. Do you think they have? Do you think they have like feedback? Do you think they get feedback, Twitter feedback in the form of graphs that determines who's being an a-hole and who needs to be fired? Kate Gardner. Last week, the news broke that Star Wars author Chuck Wendig had been fired from the Marvel title he was working on due to the politics and vulgarity swirling around his Twitter. He was generating the politics and the vulgarity. Why are these people like this? Are they? Is this an act? Are they doing this just to annoy me? Is my narcissism getting out of control? They're not helping.
It's personal.
It is personal. The internet, for the most part, came to Wendig's defense because given that his politics and cursing had been part of his brand for years prior to his firing, it really seemed like he was being fired for simply speaking out against the trolls, against the right in an aggressive manner and not holding for shit from trolls. Don't know what that means. Yeah, you guys, I know you've got this attitude that it's like, hey, Chuck Wendig's always been an asshole and Marvel hired him. And they knew he was an asshole. So why did they fire him now? Because they got tired of it. They just got tired of it.
Well, cursing is his brand. Like, I thought that was just bad taste or just look down in society. I didn't know that was a brand. Like, I can just start cussing and that's my brand.
That's how. Yeah, that's what people know you for. Nicholas Glenn, $1.99. Did you see Jeremy's NPC Nightly News video tonight? No, but that's really funny. That makes me laugh. Here's the graph that shows me getting him fired. Now this is Chuck cursing, and I guess me responding to his cursing and causing people to attack him. This is right before Friday he got fired, and then look at this. That's an angry updated data on Twitter after Chuck Wendig being fired from Marvel Star Wars. The new part is the number of bots, fully automated accounts tweeting about Wendig. I'm amazed by how many bots there were. What are you talking about? Everybody, I think they're just, I think these people are goofing off or they're just nuts. It's one of the two. Data gathered by Bethany Lacina. By the way, Ethan's inside Bethany. You can see that right here. Deep inside Bethany. Shows that I am ETHAN. A large number of the Twitter users engaging with Wendig and tweeting about him were not actual people, but instead were bots and puppet accounts, which we can see represented on the graph. So here's the graph. The number of tweets from normal accounts is on this graph. Of note, lots more people paid real attention, or lots more real people paid attention when he was fired versus his initial after his initial tweet storm. Also, Ethan Van Sciver is right that legit accounts found Wendig through him. There is a bump after he tweeted his YouTube link. The man mentioned in this tweet, Ethan Van Sciver. I'm sorry, I got to read the man mentioned in this tweet, Ethan Van Sciver, is the member of Comicsgate, which if you remember Gamergate, it's pretty much exactly what you think it is. So you can probably guess what his video contained. My video was legendary. What it contained, I had two videos. One of them was just celebrating after he was fired. The second one was actually me. I did a really good documentary. I don't know if you've watched it yet, but I did a really good documentary where I actually showed that Chuck Wendig, in his own words, was quite aware. He was well aware of his problem on social media. I took clips of a video of interview of him. Saying over and over again that he has a problem. He needs a Twitter intervention. I talked about him and his vulgarity, et cetera, in his own words. and then did a whole video about it. It was a great video, probably 20 minutes long, and it's doing very well. It's 37,000 views. Let me check on that. 37,000 views. 37,000 views on that. That's not bad. Also, after EVS tweeted, sketchy Twitter exploded. Graph shows likely bots, automated, and two kinds of likely semi-automatic automated accounts. Anon, no user description, and puppets. Bars are stacked. This is crazy. All right, so and then look, more science, more pseudoscience. This means that Marvel, when looking at all the responses to Wendig's tweets, were actually reacting in part to a not insignificant amount of bots who were tweeting at and about him. So what does this all mean? It means that the response to Wendig is not 100% generated by real fans, but in part generated by bots who were trying to target Wendig for harassment. The reaction his tweets received between the time that he tweeted his first anti-GOP thread, which has since been deleted. Don't worry, we have copies of it. We screen saved it. And the reaction to his firing generated a large response from bots, which shows that the outrage at his tweets wasn't necessarily entirely in good faith. All right. And what else? Well, that Twitter is terrible, first of all. It's terrible because of SJWs, to be honest with you. My experience on Twitter would basically consist of me tweeting out pictures of Cyberfrog. It would be congratulating successful Comicsgate accounts. It would be, doing all of these things. Getting to know artists, getting to know other creators, trying to introduce them to fans, promoting my own work, promoting my Cyberfrog figurine, my t-shirts. That's what my Twitter experience would be if it wasn't for weirdos and bots and puppets. I mean, legitimate puppets. I mean, people that have just built their Twitter accounts yesterday and have 6 followers. These people harass my account, harass Comicsgaters, tell them they're a hate group, tell them that their future is over, tell them all this stuff all day long. That's what a Comicsgater's Twitter experience is like. Now, Chuck Wendig is one of those people. Chuck Wendig is one of those people who actually has a real name, who spent a good period of his time denigrating and running down Comicsgaters and people who were critical of Star Wars, things like that. So Chuck Wendig was a vulgarian. He was somebody who just went too far. You want to talk about a hateful Twitter account. Chuck Wendig was nonstop hatred. So much he gave websites like Bounding Into Comics endless amounts of information to run articles about him. I mean, he'd become a clown. It's unlikely that Marvel will walk back their decision to fire Wendig. No, of course. But they made a bad choice based on shaky data. They didn't. It wasn't databased. It wasn't based on this. They don't have these ridiculous charts that you guys are concocting. This is the most severe case of gaslighting that I've ever seen. I mean, this is gaslighting. This is meant to make people think that, hey, what Chuck Wendig said wasn't offensive, wasn't crazy, wasn't detrimental, wasn't a problem for Disney or Star Wars or Marvel. Marvel is actually looking at, graphs of people reacting to things and, reactions from people that didn't exist. They confused Marvel. And Chuck was fired because he was vulgar, hateful, rude, and he wasn't doing a good job. He just wasn't doing a good enough job. He was fired because his behavior was bad. And Chuck Wendig is not Stephen King. Chuck Wendig is not J.K. Rowling.
Chuck's better than both of them.
Well, Chuck Wendig is not a big enough name. He is not a big enough name in order to behave like this. He just isn't. Like J.K. Rowling can be like this all she wants because she's J.K. Rowling. She is more important in some respects than Harry Potter, and Stephen King is more important than almost anything he's written. Chuck Wendig is less important than Star Wars. His job is to be there and create TIE fighter scenes and promote Darth Vader and C-3PO and R2-D2. His job is not to draw attention to himself, Chuck Wendig, at the expense of Star Wars. And that is why he was fired.
The strangest thing I find about these stories is like, who are these people that really are defending this kind of behavior? By every account that I know of civilized society, when you start talking like this in a public forum, or if you start talking this way towards another human being, that it's in bad, at the very least, it's in bad taste, but it's vulgarity. So I just don't understand why anybody would defend it. Like, who's going to defend the guy that starts screaming at somebody on the street and calling them a MF or whatever? You know, it's usually that person that's screaming and yelling at somebody and calling them names, hateful names. Those are usually the bad guys in society. Yeah. Why are we defending this guy? Like, that's weird.
They can't admit they're wrong.
Well, it is weird, but it isn't weird because we know, who this guy, who these people are. And if you listen to this show and if you listen to Comicsgate, you understand like who these people are. They are SJW insurgents who have infiltrated the comic book industry, have infiltrated Star Wars, have infiltrated all of these hobbies, all of these platforms, and inserted weirdos like Chuck Wendig. And now Chuck Wendig has the banner of Star Wars behind him, from which he can say crazy, hateful, anti-Republican things, and more people are going to hear him or listen to him. Now, they depend on this. They depend on their insurgency. They depend on all of their little agents that they put places to be able to, promote and, defend and, kind of force people to endure their leftist tirades. Chuck Wendig being fired is a shot across the bow. It means no further than this. You can't tell people, you can't say, hey, Republicans, you're all necks and, go eat a shit covered boot. You can't say that. You can't. That is too far. It's too far. You can't say that and still work on Star Wars. And he was fired for that reason. Now, of course, I laughed because I think he's an a-hole. I think he's a huge a-hole. He deserved to lose his job. And to me, it just means, look, there is some justice. Some sanity prevails in the world. There are still people who are behaving like adults out there somewhere in positions of control and authority. And thank God. Their job is now, these other SJWs, to gaslight and create a whole other thing about this. Just like when Trump won, it was all about Russian bots. Gaslight your audience, confuse people, make them not understand. I mean, you look at this person. Look at. I want to blow up the picture of Bethany. Look at this person. You go look at her picture. Like, this is a weirdo. This is an agent. This is an SJW far left-wing agent. This is an NPC who is lying and gaslighting and trying to confuse people and make them think that, some kind of weirdo fluke, some kind of conspiracy, something or other is the reason why Chuck lost his job. Now, you're supposed to think that, again, this is data. This data that she's proved that, no, Bethany. And the thing is, I know you know this. It's not like I'm telling you anything. You're lying to people. This was a human decision made by human beings who had looked at Chuck Wendig and were unhappy with his behavior over a long period of time. And then this was the final straw. It had nothing to do with bots. It had nothing to do with how much I celebrated or what I said. I didn't cause this. I wish I did. Because if I had caused this, it would just go to show that Comic Artist Pro Secrets is leading the way. Comicsgate Live is leading the way towards a return to rationality, to rules, to regulations, to people behaving themselves and treating each other with respect.
No, we would have already had that if Hillary won.
What, Nasser? I'm going to boot you. I'm going to get you.
Ethan, no, I actually had stuff to say today.
Yes. Midnight Cherry TV says EVS didn't do nothing. That's right. Nothing. Not what I should have done. But that's what this is. This is just a return to normalcy. Comicsgate is so scary to them because we're saying, no, we don't allow this. We're not going to allow this in our own community. We're not going to allow this kind of behavior. What we're doing is a response to Chuck Wendig. And when Chuck Wendig said, me getting fired was a win for Comicsgate, I didn't understand what he meant. But, I was like, well, we didn't really care that much about you, Chuck. But he's absolutely right. It is a win for our point of view, for what we're trying to say. We're trying to say, no to this. No, you can't tell your fans to eat a boot covered in shit. No. And keep your job. You can't do that. You can't talk to us with that kind of disrespect.
Right. And you know what? I know this for a fact that like Marvel and DC are sending out memos now to the creative people that work for them, and they're advising them how to act on social media. So I know Chuck Wendig had been he'd been notified that, you know, like in a generic way, like an overall to all the employees, that you have to present yourself on social media in a certain way, because when you do, you're also representing the companies that you work for and things like that. Because I just got one of those things from DC the other day. So I know they're sending these memos out to people and trying to tell the talent not to act this way. So I almost guarantee you Chuck Wendig was warned before he was fired and didn't change his ways. I almost guarantee you he wasn't just fired.
Yeah. CBR here. Bethany Lacina, an associate professor of political science at the University of Rochester, posted to Twitter on Thursday a graph showing bot activity referencing Wendig at 3 points. When Wendig first posted a long vitriolic storm of tweets in response to the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh, Comicsgate founder... Am I Comicsgate's founder? I don't think I am. Ethan Van Sciver's tweet linking to one of his YouTube videos about Wendig's dissatisfaction. And Wendig's announcement that he had been fired from Marvel. And that's when everyone celebrated. All right, so it was all me. I guess it was me that did this. And if that's the case, good. And let's look at the comments. But we cannot tell whether or not they were for or against his tweets. Am I missing something? This should be a lesson. Simply watch what you post and you will be fine. Thank you, Nicholas Gephardt. You're not fooling people. These next two tweets are spam from somebody saying, I make $77 an hourly on my laptop. Yeah. And then Nate DeFossis down here. Yeah, Russ and Botch. Yeah, okay, right. Nobody's buying this, guys. God, I can't wait till the election's over and people just shut up. I can't wait.
Right. I can't wait till we get her in office.
Are you with her, Nasser? Are you with her?
Yes, definitely. 100%.
Yikes.
Level 3 says, LOL, that article is wild. EVS controls all social media and job stability. I wish that were true. Right. Kid, EVS is God. Yeah, that's what it means. It's exactly what they're saying.
That's funny.
I don't know what should I argue or should I not argue? Everybody should just be careful, because if this is true, all of you NPCs and SJWs, watch your step, because I will get you fired. All I have to do is make a video and your job is over. I command millions of Russian bots and Sockpuppet accounts. So again, watch your step. Nicholas Glenn, what is each of yours most valuable comic you own, and which one means the most to you that you own?
Most valuable? I have an Archie's Madhouse 22, the first Sabrina the Teenage Witch. That's probably like $300. But most valuable to me is definitely my 1991 X-Men #1, because that was my first comic.
Nice. What about you, Frank?
Probably Death in the Family. That's when I got serious into comic collecting. When I was a kid, I liked Conan the Barbarian and things like that. But Death in the Family got me into Batman.
What about you, Art T. Bear?
My is it's a early Batman. I think it was the first Batman comic I ever owned from the 60s, because I'm old, and I still have it to this day. And there's another book that's just a T. Bear like classic, and it's a book. It's a Superman book that my wife fell in love with when she was a child, and through Mike Carlin, who's the editor of Superman, I found and I tracked that book down and I bought it for her, and so it stays in our collection as one of our choice gems.
That's cute.
It is cute. Yeah.
Everyone in the chat, I mean, those of you who are artists who can do stuff, I want you to start making memes of me as God Emperor. I want an army. I want an army of bots, whatever bots look like, sock puppets and bots, and I want Chuck Wendig at my feet.
And put me in these memes too, because I'm Little Caesar.
I'm getting Nasser out of here. I swear to God.
No.
I don't know what it is. He is rubbing me the wrong way tonight. I think.
Wow. Okay.
You seem on edge. Are you on edge?
A little on edge. A little.
Yeah, I can
A
hear it.
little bit, yeah. A little annoyed. But I'm going to take advantage of this. So, yeah, go ahead. And I want to see memes of me just destroying NPCs. Watch your step. I rule the internet. When I tweet, when I make videos, it means that SJWs and NPCs lose their fucking jobs. And I want armies. Should I have sock puppets or bots behind me? I think
Both.
maybe both. Yeah, like an army of sock bots, and just spread them all around.
You could be the new Jim Henson of the internet. You know, you have all your puppets going after everybody.
Yeah.
An empire.
John Malin, talk me down. Everyone's crazy tonight.
Hey, John Malin, Malin Militia.
Hey everyone.
Malin militia forever.
Nasser's raising a little hell in here.
Well,
Yep.
he is getting on my nerves. He is. I'm as Frank pointed out, I am on edge tonight. The reason why I'm on edge is that I've got Washington Post telling the world. The Washington Post is telling the world that I have the power to destroy people using my YouTube channel. And that's what happened to Chuck Wendig. And then Mary Sue did an article about it. And then Comic Book CBR did an article about it. And I, John, I didn't ask for this situation.
Mm-mm.
No, I just wanted to.
It would have been great because I just came from Mike's Night Watch. If my avatar didn't switch over, because if you look on the actual Hangout, it's Joffrey. So
Joffrey.
I would have loved to talk about power and dominance in character as Joffrey, but I'm not Joffrey. So yeah, guys, Ethan, has a degree of power for sure, but this world conqueror thing, no.
Well, maybe I do, John. That's what I'm telling them now. I'm saying I want memes of me. I want God Emperor memes. I want armies of sock puppets behind me. I want a sword. I want Chuck Wendig on the ground with a shit covered boot in his mouth, right at my feet.
Brutal.
Okay, that's what I want. Those are the memes that I want. People in the chat already know this. They understand. Yeah. Well, this
Let's just imagine for 1 minute if EVS won that lottery, what he could do.
He's going to give me $1 million. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
that's what I said.
But he could rule the world. He could rule the world.
Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike's here. Mike S. Miller. Let me run through real quick.
I was coming because I heard you were going to boot Nasser.
Yeah, let me boot him.
No, don't.
We'll see you later, Nasser. It was good seeing you.
I actually had something.
It was good seeing you. Now, Mike, it's great to have you here. I just muted Nasser.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, Mike, what do you think of that? That I bought $40 worth of lottery tickets to win what would amount to $420 million after taxes if I won.
I've bought when they get that big. I sometimes get that Jones too, but I usually forget about it. I'll just see some crazy thing on the news or whatever. I'm like, holy crap, that is so freaking much money. It's like
it changed a lot. But anyway, so I'm driving back, Mike, and I swear to God, this was the thought I had. I didn't have it about anyone else. I was like, well, what did I do about $425 million? And I thought about my Comicsgate brothers, specifically you. And I said, if I gave Mike S. Miller some money, I'd give him $1 million. It would change his life.
It would change my life.
Yeah. And that's what I thought about.
Thanks, bro. I'm more for you to win. Damn it, he's back.
No, he's gone. Bye, Nasser.
I just got $1 million. It's hilarious.
I told him to shush. Nasser got booted. Booted Nasser. So yeah, you know what? Like, enough of this. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, I would want to take care of Mike. And I know Mike, if Mike won $420 million, he would give me $1 million.
Absolutely. Although it wouldn't change your life.
It would. $1 million would be great. It wouldn't change my life.
Just pay off your house and then do everything else.
Yeah, it would be nice. All right, so Nasser's back.
Okay.
I actually had something to show you, Ethan.
What? How can you show me anything, Nasser?
How do you get back?
He's got 2 accounts.
Oh.
I
What do you want to?
Funny.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
So this is on Twitter. This is that Mark Lombardi guy. He's like, 30 days left to back Astonishing Gators. The thumb to the nose.
Dude, you're giving that guy oxygen on Ethan's freaking stream?
It's funny.
It doesn't matter.
Bro, you talk about Ren 24/7. I don't want to hear anything from you.
No, I don't. I don't even see
Bro.
your name.
E. Morgus says Mike is a dick. He wouldn't give you S. He wouldn't give you the S word. That's not true. That's not true.
I'm the most generous person you know.
He would.
Mike's so mean to me lately.
Shut up.
All right, what is this? Speed it up with the
he says, still 30 days left to back Astonishing Gators. The thumb to the nose and the middle finger of the fist back to the Comicsgate crowd. Blah blah blah. And so I'm going to emphasize it. He's like, this is the middle finger of the fist back to the Comicsgate crowd. Bro, they got $1,200 and it's been a month.
Ouch, that hurt. That hurt really bad.
I'm doing better than he is.
I'm offended.
Yeah, so good job to him. All of these guys, none of these guys are able to raise money. That guy, Chuck, yeah. I mean, that's brutal. I'm just hitting him with that every time now. The picture of his campaign.
Yep.
20 days, $1,030. Had to end it in shame. Well, and you ask for 30 grand, like, what are you, nuts?
He's probably thinking, because this was when, like, last month he started or something like that?
No. This is 2016, but it was the last account that he did. And apparently he's backing another account right now that's like at 4,000. It's going to end in a couple days.
He's never succeeded at anything in life.
I don't know what he does. His comic looked like garbage. I mean, I hate to say it. Like, I don't want to be rude, but it didn't look good. And I have standards. Like, if that Comicsgate if that book was a Comicsgate book and the guy came to me and said, will you promote this? I'd say, I just don't think you're ready yet.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ready yet. I'm sorry. Good luck. Like, keep working at it. But you're like 5 years away from professional status. And, everyone who is a part of Comicsgate, every book that I promote, I'm proud of. Even Nasser, like, I'm really proud of like the stuff that Nasser does. He's great. So, it's like we do have standards, and that is why we do well. And he's just like, you need to have a platform. I'm sorry, you really do need to. This is not the 1930s anymore. This is not print medium. This is a whole new world. And comics are going to change. Comics are going to go through some changes. You do need to have a platform. You do need to promote yourself on social media. All of this stuff is very, very important. And crowdfunding isn't going away. I know they're hoping it's going to go away.
Yeah, they're hoping to destroy an entire sales model just to spite us.
Yeah.
That's how petty they are.
Yeah, well, it's just not going to work. And we're just going to keep going. It's hard to discourage me right now. It's hard to tell me bad things about me. It's hard. I have nearly 81,000 followers on YouTube. I just made $628,000 on a single issue of Cyberfrog. By the way, I know my work looks glorious. I don't want to sound arrogant, but it's like, I know how fucking good I am. I'm really good. I'm really, really, really good.
So that last page you posted.
You like that?
Yeah.
Thank
you. Because I saw you when you were just working on it. I was watching one of your streams, and then you posted it today, and I was like, I did this.
All of us are.
Is it the Frog DNA one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
all of us are. Cool. And it's not like I'm saying I'm better than you guys. You guys are just as good. John Malin kicks ass. Mike S. Miller kicks ass. Art Bear kicks ass. Frank Martin kicks ass. All of these guys on here are dynamite, and especially like us old pros that have been here for a long time. We're all really, really, really good. So it's like, I'll take the Pepsi challenge against like which SJW, which one? Who wants to step up? Who wants to step up now and put your book against mine? Which one of these loudmouths wants to put their book against mine?
But you only sold like 12,000 copies, so it doesn't compare to.
It's just
Stupid
the
man.
start. It's just the start. Those are
Also,
three-
without a DC or a Marvel logo on it, I mean, you have no, company behind you. You have no promotions department. You have none of those things. It's just you. So
We are the promotions department, man.
exactly, yeah. So even if the numbers are lower than say Marvel and DC, those guys have been around for 70 years. Like they should be outselling everybody. I mean, they should be selling better than they are, to be honest. Yeah.
Again, well, I mean, let these guys do their own books. These guys who do really, really well, at Marvel and DC, they go over to Image and I see their numbers. But see, the thing is, again, they're selling $3, $4 comic books. As they're all quick to point out, mine costs $25.
Mm-hmm.
That's expensive. And still, I sold 12,000 of them. Go look at the trade paperback sales. Should we do that? Do we want to talk? Do we want to get real right now? Because we put up with this stuff. We put up with this nonsense.
Let's get real. Yeah, let's get real.
So much, and it's like there's so much gaslighting. There's so much silliness out there. Monthly sales. Let's go to 2018. What's available now? Probably September sales are available. I would think.
Yeah, they just put it up a couple days ago.
September's up.
You looking at ICB2?
Yeah. So I'm on Comic-Con. All right, let me share this so that you can see what this is. All right. All right. Click on
KSS in the chat wants to know, Art, what were dinosaurs actually like?
They're a lot like me, actually.
Art is old. So these comics here, this is the top 300, and these comics here cost $3, $4, $5. They're cheap. These are the floppies. Okay, so you're going to sell a lot of these. These are not sold to customers, by the way. These are pre-ordered to comic shops. So it's hard to say what's actually going to sell through. This is not what we're doing. We're not selling $3 comics. We're selling trade paperbacks at $25 each. So this is a top 500. Star Wars Darth Vader number 20 sold 549 copies. That's great.
That's probably a reprint.
Yeah. This is what we're doing. This is where we are. You see, my comic book is $25. It's a trade paperback. These are trade paperback titles. Saga Volume 9, $14.99, sold 21,000 copies. Walking Dead Volume 30 sold 12,640. Cyberfrog Blood Honey sold 12,000 at $25. These two books are the only books that are outselling me in my price range. These are the only two books that are outselling me for what it is. And by the way,
pulled in 10,000.
Jawbreakers would be number 4 on this list. I'd be number 3. They'd be number 4. And we earned more money than these two books. We just earned more money than them. So that is the reality of what we're doing. So when they say, "Oh, you only sold 12," now what I'm going to do is after this is done, I'm breaking my comic book. I'm breaking Blood Honey and 1998 up into 22-page issues, and I'm going to be selling those at $4.99 a piece. I'm going to put them up on this chart. I'm going to solicit them through the direct market, and then we're going to see what happens. We're going to see where those chart. Look at 3,000, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Anywhere that they fall, that's just additional money. That's just profit added on top of what we've already done. Then after that, I'm going to put them out digitally, and I'm going to sell them for the same price digitally. That'll be later. So as you can see, we are primed, we are positioned to compete with Marvel and DC and Image and all these people, and in fact kick their asses. They're gaslighting you when they say, "Yeah, well, Justice League sold 76,000. You only sold 12,000." Justice League, $3.99. Cyberfrog, $25. Okay, so that is the difference. That is what these fools are afraid of. And that's what they don't understand.
Well, also, we're selling directly to the customers. These
They're
are
all
getting
sold.
into customers' hands. Well, they're selling to retailers, and the retailer may or may not sell through on what they ordered. So, those aren't actual those books aren't actually getting into the customer's hands per se.
And also, Ethan, 1,200 is your contributor count, right?
No, 12,000 is the number of copies sold. Yeah.
Oh, really? So that's including the ones that bought multiple copies and your sets and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I think we sold 12,000 copies, but those are sold through. And that's the thing that you need to, people need to understand. These are just sold to comic shops. They have not reached the customer's hands. Obviously, the comic shops are not going to sell every single copy of about 99% of those books. When I sell 12,000 copies of Cyberfrog, that is 12,000 copies sold to customers, not to a retailer, to customers. So we have a superior model. I mean, we're, or at least a more profitable model to us. John Malin sold Graveyard Shift. Those are all copies that went into people's hands. And then I'm sure later he is going to, are you going to solicit Graveyard Shift?
It's possible down the road. It definitely, if it was going to happen, it wouldn't be until the second book is done.
Yeah. Oh, they're right. They're saying $35, Ethan, $10 for shipping. That is right. So, good times. Did Ethan talk about the state of CBR? What's the state of CBR? What do I not know? Yeah. That'd be funny if someone was. Well, no, I did a review of the CBR article about me, Trencher. That's all, or with me in it. It's infuriating. But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Comicsgate is going to do well, and then you've got just people around us going, but you're doing things differently than the way that things have always been done. I mean, you're not competing on the same ground that we are. That's correct. We're not.
No,
I would create our own way.
It's funny because I'd been working on Lone Star, for about a year, give or take, prior to launching this, and I had no intention. I had no outlet unless I could have eventually found someone to fund. What the hell is that? Someone to actually fund the company,
Right.
I had this. I don't know. I sent it to you. I think the whole Blacklist Universe company pitch, and but yeah, without the funders, I would have just sat on this thing forever. But this is it's a whole new world, man. It's freaking. It's changing my life.
Well, I sat on mine for 25 years.
There you go.
Yeah, it's time to do. I don't know. It's time to make some changes and do our own thing, and that's what we're doing. And these people do not like it, but we don't have to listen to them. I mean, fortunately, Russian bots, my army of sock puppets, is taking them all out on my command. Invite Mindy. Everybody wants Mindy.
No.
All right. Let's get Mindy in here then. I don't care. Hold on. Does Mindy want to come in? Everyone says invite people, and then I invite them in. I assume that they actually want to come on, and then then they don't come on.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen that way.
It doesn't happen that way all the time.
Team Joffrey supports the army of sock puppets.
Ethan, tell all your sock puppets to get Brutus on Indiegogo.
Yeah. Oh, we should look at that. How's everything going, by the way? How's everyone's campaign moving along?
I'm at 97,200 and change.
Let me see.
We're at $30,231.
Hey, that's great. Yeah, you broke 30,000, didn't you? Congratulations to
Thanks.
Donald and to Nasser.
We're 100. Oh, I'll go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, that's just great news. Hold on a second. Let me screen share again, and I'm going to type these things up. All right, $30,231. Magnificent.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thanks.
I'm gonna look at Graveyard Shift as well, because why did I type in www Graveyard Shift?
Okay. What is it? The 1990s?
I know. $101,134 for John Malin's mega successful Graveyard Shift. Let's look up Lone Star.
Malin Militia.
Malin Militia. What is the Malin Militia made up of?
Fans, devotees, minions.
Yeah.
Mostly a woman named Ruth.
Who's Ruth?
Mine are minions. Mine are friends.
Oh. Lone Star Heart of the Hero finally is at $97,221. Getting closer to that six figures. That is going to be a party. When that hits six figures, that is definitely going to be a party.
I just finished I'll finish the first draft of the script, so the dialogue's all done. Sent it off to my editor to have him check it out.
Who's your editor?
Roland Man.
Oh,
You really have an editor?
You don't have an editor?
No.
I wish I would have had Mike as my editor. He gave me the best feedback after reading Stardust. Like, I literally handed it to the guy at my comic shop. I handed it to the owner, and I was like, as soon as I handed it to him, first thing I said was, and then Mike S. Miller gave me great feedback, so I'm gonna rewrite some of the dialogue in the second print. And he's like, what? I was like, nothing. And then, like, as I walked away, I could just hear Mike in the back of my head still, like, fix the dialogue.
Galactic Comets at $2,620. It's a step up. It's a little step up. I'm taking baby steps, Frank. We got to get this.
I'm gonna work harder. No, I'm working harder. I'm all set.
Okay. All right, Galactic Comet. I'm gonna put this link in the description.
Actually, on my YouTube channel, I put on a little in-depth behind the story about Comet, the Galactic Comet. So, guys, check it out after the stream's over and learn more about it, and maybe change some minds and hearts.
Frank, what were you like in high school? What kind of music did you listen to?
Oh, I rocked the mullet, man. You know, it was Van Halen, Def Leppard, all that stuff. No studs, you know, no leather boots or anything, you know. But yeah, no, love the metal.
We were just listening to. I was doing a drawing stream, and we were just doing Def Leppard.
Oh, Hysteria, man. That's a lot of dating with that album. That was a good one.
It's a great album, man.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to The Vault. It was Def Leppard, The Vault, and you know, it had all the best of stuff.
Yep.
It was nice. It reminded me of Mike. You know, Mike does these drawing streams every single day. Mike sits down and does drawing streams. People watch him draw. I don't really do that as much because I get shy when I draw. But I just said, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to, you know, I'll start a page and I'm going to listen to some music. I won't ask very much of myself, like in terms of interaction. But it turned out to be a great stream, and people really liked it. I think people had a good time. Lama Gigante says, Hysteria, Kick Frank, Pyromania.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah, they're all good. Def Leppard is not metal. AOR at best. Well, you know, it's not metal. It's not metal. It's
Def Leppard is hair rock.
Yeah, it's hair metal.
Yeah, look, I generalize. I'm not going to get into the nuances of the metal. We had less categories back then. Now there's a category for every mood and tone of music now.
Mindy's in here. Mindy, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you guys?
You know, we're okay. Everyone's saying Mindy needs to be in here now. You made a lot of fans last night. I drunkenly watched. I drank yesterday. I'm not drinking today at all.
I think people could tell, Ethan. You're talking about pies. Did you know in your drunken stupor that you were talking about pies?
Well, I mean, what makes that different from sobriety? I mean, to be honest with you, that's kind of how I am. No, you were on Nick Rekieta's channel, Nick Rekieta Law, and Nick was doing a nice interview with you, and Nick made fun of Armenians, and so I started telling Armenian jokes. I super chatted him Armenian jokes that were racist. Mike, I was racist against Armenians on Nick Rekieta's channel last night.
Racism.
I said how many Armenians does it take to screw in a light bulb? 2, but only if they're really small. You know, that's racist.
I don't get it.
That's a pretty good joke. You know, people really, really liked it, so it was good.
Yeah.
You were there. Yeah.
You know, if there was a way to boot me from the chat, I think people would have wanted me to do that. And
you have a lot of screwing the light bulb jokes, don't you?
Yeah, they're the go-to jokes.
Yeah.
They don't have to be funny. It's just when you say how many somethings does it take to screw in a light bulb, that means you're telling a joke. You
said the Brazilian one last night. I remember.
Right. How many South Americans does it take to screw in a light bulb? A Brazilian. Right. That's another.
Oh boy.
I'm getting old, Mike. It's a dad joke. You know what I mean?
Dad jokes kicking in.
That's our job. That's our job.
Yeah. You try to get people to groan. Like at some point, you're not trying to get people to really laugh anymore. Like not because it's funny, but you have an image of fatherhood that you're trying to project, of corniness. You know.
Embrace the fatherhood corniness. It's the best thing we can do.
Yes. So it was good. You did a good job on your interview last night, Mindy. I was very pleased. I watched as much of it as I could before I passed out on the floor. It was most of it. And everyone was like, get Mindy in here. Mindy is now definitely Comicsgate. And she used to own a comic book store. So your insight into all of this will be invaluable, I guess.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I popped in about halfway through, and I know you guys are talking about retail, and it was one of my goals in my book, Karma, to launch a retailer package. So I would encourage everybody to do the same, especially because variants, launch variants, launch retailer packages. So if you have retailers in mind, you just cater to what the model is already for what it's been, and I'm sure that you'll be able to attract retailers or call your retailers, email your retailers. They're out there starving.
What would you do for a retailer package on a book that costs $20?
Yeah, so I mean, it does kind of make sense. I mean, we get a lot of flack for having a model that's $20 to $25 per book. I understand this. And I understand also that if you are overseas, outside of the United States, you're also paying about $15 to $20 to get it shipped to you. So something that gets overlooked by anti-Comicsgaters is that they're not only paying just $20 to $25 per book, they're actually paying more like $40.
Yeah.
So these people are paying a lot of money for our books, which is a very good compliment. Something that anybody should feel free to bring up at any time to an anti-Comicsgater dragging on this campaign of Comicsgate and what it is. But as a retailer, you buy so many books to get a high-end variant. I think that that's legit. I think we should revisit the model of so many printed versions equal a rarer variant version. That's the model that has been treasured in comics for a long time. And that's what makes comics rare, right? So, I mean, Ethan, your Green Lantern Batman, right? That's yours, right? My husband and I were looking at that at a con ages ago, and I regret to this day that I didn't buy it because my husband wanted it so bad, and it's the only time that I saw that book, and I held it in my hands. And I didn't buy it, but I wish I did. So we need to be thinking more on a broader spectrum about rare comics and availability. And a thing that a lot of these people, most of these people are saying to me right now, and as a marketing person, I'm trying to pay attention to every single one of their chats on my streams and others, is that they want a $5 PDF version. Okay, granted, you were just talking a PDF version, right, Ethan? So that's good. Give that, make it marketable. But then as you go forward, if you want a $20 model, if you want a $25, $30, $40, $45 model, you need to be thinking about print runs, limited print runs, and variants. Available only if they are unlocked by a certain amount of sales of the earlier versions. Yes, this works similar to Indiegogo, and that's great. That's compatible. So combine your Indiegogo model with your comic retailer model, and let's see what can happen. Let's start busting out more variants and limited print runs. I mean, that's just my hunch, is that this is going to turn into a limited print run so that the people who want the PDFs at a lower rate can get the lower rate PDFs because they're already tapped out. They're tapped out on all these comics, guys. You're selling so many good comics that they're running out of money.
Well, I hear you, and I feel like that would be a good idea if we were actually selling comics through retailers. We're not. We're selling straight to fans. And so if I'm going to do a prismatic Cyberfrog variant cover, I'm going to sell as many as people want them, and I'm going to print as many as people want them because we're not trying to create artificial scarcity. We're trying to actually provide as much product as we can to the people who want to buy it. So again, we have a different model. We have a different model because we aren't trying to manipulate anything, using the retail model. So, when I'm thinking I might actually do like another weird kind of variant Cyberfrog thing, but I'm gonna print as many as people want them. And my attitude is the scarcity is defined by the time period. So it's like I'm saying, hey, you've got 2 months to buy in at this at this special Cyberfrog signed cover. 2 months, and if I sell 10,000 of those, that's fine. The only scarcity is that the print run stops right there. Right there. You can't, I'm not going to print any more of that cover for that period of time. But if 100,000 people want that cover, I'm going to print 100,000. The only scarcity that we should provide, that we should create, is just a time period. Buy in right now, because from here on out, you know, once, let's say I start a campaign right now, you know, this is going to be available for 2 months. So, you know, December 19th, that's it. You can't buy this anymore. But feel free to buy as many copies as you want between now and then. And that's I think the best way to do this. We have to remember that we are not trying to help retailers here. We're trying to help fans. We're trying to help customers, because we're not working with retailers yet.
Yeah.
We might be eventually.
I'd also like to make a point about the digital comics. Digital comics buyers and paper comics buyers I don't think there's much overlap there. I think that's just two totally separate markets. So even Ethan, your idea of bringing it down as a later tier, the people who want the paper book are going to buy the freaking paper book. People who read digitally, it's not a lot of people. That Venn diagram doesn't have a lot of overlap. So
I wish that was more true, but unfortunately and fortunately, because of Comicsgate, more people are turning to digital PDFs because they have run from comics, right? So I hear you, and I totally think that there's a platform for having the book in your hand, and most people who are artistic or creative will agree that they want the book in their hands. But there are a lot of people that are so diehard fans of yours, of all of you in the chat right now, that are spending all of their money, that are tapped out of money. So
they're going to have to earn some more money.
Yeah, I know. I get it, and I totally respect. I totally respect it. But I will tell you, there is a market.
Stop creating product just because people, spend all their money. We're going to still create product. As for digital, here's the problem with digital. Digital is too easy to bootleg. It's too easy to steal. That's why I'm going to produce digital copies last. I do know that there are people who are only semi-interested in Cyberfrog that aren't really devotees, but are curious. They might want to have a look at it on their iPad, so they'll drop the $4 or $5 to get the first issue digitally. I'm going to do that last because I realize people are going to steal it at that point.
Yeah, and Mindy, the thing is that these books are limited and they're collector's items. So the only place they can get these versions is through these sites. So I think these are one-of-a-kind experiences. And so the reason they're a little bit more expensive is because they come signed. And I don't know I think everybody actually has stretch goals. So there's a lot of extras that these packages provide that goes beyond any kind of retail experience. So those things are a little bit more money. And to be honest, if we could start getting more people in and more people to buy, then possibly we could lower the prices on these things, because the more people, obviously, the lower we can charge per cover. So I think we're building that, right? I mean, that's the platform that we're building up to.
I agree, but I will just tell you, from owning a comic shop, I will tell you that there is pure joy behind the loyal customer that gets to afford the high-end variants. I totally get it. Like, I understand the whole tapping out the customer and manipulating the customer and trying to get them to spend as much money as possible.
But that's not what we're doing.
No. I mean against that ideology, like Todd McFarlane and how he was unsatisfied with how Marvel exploited their customers. But what I'm saying is there still are customers that really, really, really liked to collect because they love you guys so much. They've been following you. They love you.
Don't buy Marvel. Don't buy DC. Buy Comicsgate.
Yes.
Right. But they still really like. I'm sorry. they still really like having those variants. So I would still offer a variant for them just because they really like it. It's like a trophy. They feel proud that they supported you and they love your work. So I wouldn't totally cast away the limited print run edition. I totally get where you guys are coming from, right?
Well, we are doing the limited print run edition. This is the rare variant. Each one of our books is the rare variant. No one else is going to find these anywhere else. This is it. That's why you pay the $25 for the ultra rare variant. Now, if you're saying we should put out a book with a variant cover and go higher than that, I don't think that's going to happen. Not on my end.
No, she's talking about when you have retailer incentives, you'll make them buy 10 copies of cover A in order to get 1 copy of cover B, that type of thing.
We're rebelling against all that. We don't think that's a good idea. I mean, I respect the retailers in the sense that, I'm not putting out the Cyberfrog, collection right now, as I've said, because the people who bought all those books in the 90s are now selling those copies of Cyberfrog for like $100. So I want them to do that. I don't want to devalue my own work. But at the same time, these variant covers, it's a different model. I'll put out a variant cover, and I did a Salamandroid variant cover for Blood Honey. It was available for 1 month, and I'll sell as many as I can sell, and then it's over. You can't buy them anymore. They're done. But everybody for 1 month I think it was a month, it might have been 3 weeks, had time to buy as many copies of that as they wanted to. That's where the the limited edition kind of thing comes in. I don't want to say there are only 10 versions, there are only 10 copies of this Cyberfrog variant, so who wants them for $1,000 each? That's not right. That's not what we want to do.
Yeah,
we're making enough money. I think
you're
that,
right, but not $1,000, Ethan. Though I'm talking about like $40 to $60. That's generally like the variant cover, and it's because it's really honestly because they like it, and they like the collective variants offer. I'm so not trying to be argumentative, but I'm just telling you from a retailer.
Yeah, I don't get it. What are you saying? That $60 we should offer 1 book for $60?
Yeah, they love it.
Give it a go. Mindy, give it a go. And when we see it become successful, then why wouldn't we follow that? If you can sell a single book for $60.
No, not the whole book. Not the whole book, though. That's not what I mean. I mean you offer a collector's tier. It's like a black and white variant, okay? And it's not $1,000. I'm meeting in the middle with you guys. Like I understand all your points totally. But what I'm saying is there are people that really like the more rarer variants because it's like they're showing their patronage to you. So offer them something
I think most of us on here already have one of those extremely rare variants. And it's our sketch covers. I mean, I've only sold a handful of sketch covers, but I have to make an individual cover to be printed on special paper in order to have, and it's a legitimate print run, but I've only sold a handful of them. So it's like just doing the cover plate over, changing all that stuff is it's not going to be really worth it. But the people that buy those, and we all have them. We all have sketch covers, right? I think everybody has one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to be the super freaking rarest of rare. Not just because, even if they had a blank one, it would be rare, compared to everything else we're printing. But
here's my thing. My thing is ultimately that I don't want to reward people for having more money. I want to reward people for having more enthusiasm. So if I do and I agree with Mindy that there are going to be variant versions of Cyberfrog. People are saying I'd really like a black and white edition of Cyberfrog Blood Honey. Oh, cool. That's a good idea. So what I'll do is I'll offer a black and white edition, and I'll run the campaign for a month, and I'll sell as many as I can sell. They're going to be the same price as everything else. And that's the way to do it. You don't want to say, okay, I'm going to create a limited amount and they're going to be more expensive than anything else, because then you're rewarding people for having more spending money rather than people for being more excited and more timely and for paying attention. I want to reward our fans who are more excited, more enthusiastic, are paying attention, are aware of the campaigns, and are on it. You want to give them a month so that they can kind of, everybody gets paid differently, squirrel away the money that they need. You don't want to offer too many campaigns per year. I really only want to do 2, maximum 3 campaigns per year. Just make sure that everyone who is paying attention, who wants to be a part of this, can buy as many copies as they want. But the old model of saying these are exclusive, these are more rare, is outdated. It excludes people who don't have that kind of money to spend on a rare collectible. I don't really want to do that. But what I do want to do is offer tiers where people who have more money, who want something that only they can afford, can buy a page of original art. I mean, that seems like a good thing.
I agree with you, Ethan. Everything you just said, I agree with. I'm not trying to come here to be, controversial.
No.
I agree
Mindy,
with you.
I'm not saying you're being controversial. I just want people to understand, remember what Comicsgate is. Comicsgate is ultimately, it's about the customer. It's how can we appease all of the customers.
Yes.
And I mean, there need to be rules. There need to be guidelines. The rules need to be, these campaigns are limited. So if you want one, you need to get it now. We can rush people. That's a good way to create enthusiasm, by saying this is only available for 2 months. You can only buy it for 2 months. And then after that, no more. That's where I think that's okay. I mean, that's a good way to create enthusiasm and value, because people who missed Black and White Remastered and want a copy are going to have to go to eBay. They're going to have to buy one secondhand at an exorbitant cost, I'm afraid, from somebody who was there, who was on it, somebody who made sure to order the copy.
Yeah.
I just freaking.
Go ahead, Mike.
It just dawned on me. I don't offer the blank sketch covers as blanks, and I know there's a huge market for those out there. Does anybody else?
Yeah, there's a huge market for blanks, and I'm so sorry. I got to chime in. What I'm saying is, Ethan, you're right. You're spot on. I just want to make sure that the old model, that the only reason that people even came in our comic shop, when people were blasting us online, blacklisting us online, that we still had loyal customers, guys, that came in. And these loyal customers, a big portion of them would share with us, you know what I mean, why they loved comics. And the black and white versions, that's exactly what it is. The Civil War variants, the connecting Civil War variants that came out in 2016 and 2017, even though they hated what Marvel was saying, they would still spend money on those variants because they liked black and white. So you're definitely onto something. It's just because they like it. I'm just trying to honor what the market liked before and just bring it into the new model, because this discussion has to be had. You know what I mean? I'm not being argumentative. I'm just trying to put my flavor into the discussion, and I want to be sure these fans are spoken for, because I still have fans that contact me now that we've been in contact with for years, that I know what they like, and I'm telling you, they like the black and white, they like the rare variants. But I do really like where you're going with this, Ethan, that you are creating a new model and you're offering the black and white. I think that is the future. And I agree, there's too much area to be exploited when you offer the variant for more money. So maybe we should just drop that model. But definitely think about offering a sketch cover, offering a black and white variant, because these are the things that for decades people have really enjoyed to collect. So, remember what they collect and just honor that. But I do like your new model.
More variants. Yeah. So I like the idea of doing a black and white edition. As long as we're like fair about it, and we make sure that, we're not excluding people. The only people who are excluded are snoozers. You snooze, you lose. But everyone else is, we're going to give you enough time to buy these comics. They're going to be reasonably priced. If you have good ideas for variants, I'm listening. I'm here to make money. I'm not here to do anything except for produce product that people want to buy. So if enough people are telling me I want a black and white uncolored version of Cyberfrog Blood Honey, and I think I can make a profit at it, obviously I'm going to do it. But yeah, we're going to change things. Comicsgate has a different attitude than I think traditional comics always has. We are thinking, because we're dealing directly with customers, we need to think about the customer's needs first, and how can we put as many copies of black and white, which by the way just broke $30,000, $30,145.
Thanks to all. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
Congratulations.
Ooh, that was your goal. That was your stretch goal, Art.
Yeah, so I get all the free artwork into people's hands. So the Greg Capullo variant original artwork is now going to go into a drawing, and one lucky pledger is going to get Critias is going to win that cover.
And 2 days left.
Congratulations!
You got 2 days left,
Yeah,
right, Art?
2 days. You're gonna do great. We're gonna promote Black and White, guys. Black and White. 2 days left. Art to Bear here. Just broke $30,000. Have you backed Black and White? I mean, now's a good time to do it because you just sold another couple copies. Get your copy of Black and White right now, guys. This is just absolutely terrific, and I think you're going to be excited to own it. This is it's just, I love what we're doing. I feel great about what we're doing. I feel great about Comicsgate every day. I jump out of bed excited about what we're doing, and I think we have new, fresh ideas for this. I think it's cool. And yeah, it's like we have to listen. Mindy's got ideas. We have to listen to Mindy, and we have to consider. But ultimately, everything has to come down to, and Mindy is like right on here. She understands where we're coming from. It's just like, what serves the customer. We've kind of eliminated the middleman for now. I mean, the retailer is going to come next, and we're going to see the retailer as a customer when we actually solicit through Diamond. Some of us are, and I don't think all of us are going to do this, but I'm going to do it. And I'll find ways to make the retailer able to make a little bit more money where I can. But I mean, at this point, at this stage, I mean, we have to only think about what these people want. How can we make sure as many people get this as possible? And sometimes it hurts. Like, I got people asking, they're like, how can I get Cyberfrog? I'm just hearing about all this now. You can't right now. That sucks, but you can't. There's no way to order Cyberfrog right now. Those are just the rules. But I'm telling you, pay attention. The next time we launch a campaign, jump on board, be a part of this, join this community, get excited about these comic books. And we've got, how many things do we have going on right now? Graveyard Shift. John Malin, this might be one of my favorite things that we're doing right now. Not to kiss John Malin's ass. The Malin
I'll try not
militia.
to take that personally.
I'm sorry, I really like the idea. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a good idea, and I would draw this. If John Malin pitched this to me, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good. I'll draw that. This is a really, really good idea. So Graveyard Shift.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun for everyone. So, we got good spins on these characters, and once you dive into it and start catching on to what we're doing here, I think everyone will find a lot of enjoyment with it.
What is it about anyway? What is Graveyard Shift? It's a great name. Sounds like a Stephen King novel. What's the book about?
So it's about scientists that are murdered and put into their own experiments, regeneration experiments. They come back as living dead. The leader that you see in the Indiegogo there, he's our Dracula stand-in. But his two accomplices, one is a stand-in for Frankenstein's monster, and the other the Bride of Frankenstein. And basically, what they do is they all team up to take out the person who killed them, and who is rising to power and bringing about a supernatural evil. And that's about all I can say on the plot.
Oh, there's the creature from the Black Lagoon. Look at him.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's our stand-in for the creature of Black Lagoon. Yep.
What's his name?
Sea Urchin is what he goes by. So the least is known about him because he's a victim that's kind of aside from the main team. Like, he's not friends with them. He was more a subject of one of the experiments that was discarded.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you've got your whole team here. This is Frankenstein here? This is it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the Frankenstein's monster character, he doesn't get the full effects of the regeneration, so he never gets beyond a hamburger face. So
what's his name? Let's go through names. What is his name?
Okay. Yeah, he's Mick the Monster Mayhew. And the wife to the left is Lilith Mayhew.
Mm.
And the guy in the middle there, that's Vladimir Blood. And he's our Dracula stand-in. So he's a little different from the other two. But Lilith Mayhew gets the full effects of the regeneration. So she gets to be able to come back. She just has her porcelain skin.
It's awesome. We got to do.
Otherwise, she's hot.
Are you going to do more of this, John? Are you going to do?
Yeah.
Are you?
Absolutely. Yeah. The intent is our origin story is book 1 and book 2. And if people are still interested, then there's no reason this cannot go on. We can keep changing the cast around. We can keep doing more tie-ins with monsters. Like we've thought about doing tie-ins for like a Jason type Michael Myers bad guy.
Where's the Wolfman?
So the Wolfman was originally on the team, but Mark, my co-creator and writer, when he originally pitched it to me, it included like they had like an X-Men jet, and the werewolf was sticking his head out the window, and this tongue was wagging. And then Mark called him Fido, and I was like, no, there's not going to be a werewolf on this team. I was so disgusted, so disgusted. So, yeah. Mark goes a little bit goofy, and I try to reel him in because I'm a little bit more of the serious type guy. So somewhere in there we get a balance.
All right, let me read some super chats. People are complaining that I'm not reading them. Thank you so much for super chats, guys. So appreciate them, and I'm going to read them right now. Let's see. Open in a new window. Where are they? It's taking forever. Oh, something happened. Are we still on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're still good.
Okay, yeah, it said 500 internal error, system error. I hate when that happens. Let me try again. There they are.
Crashing again.
I hope not. I can't take it. I've had such trouble over the past 3 days. Let's see. Okay, Johnny Medieval says, I used to be a player character like you, then I took an arrow to the knee. Hey, I'm catching it live for once. Here's some money for Frog Inc. Thank you, Johnny Medieval. People Circus, £2. If Chuck was a pie, what would it taste like? It would taste like a shitty boot, is what it would taste like. Chris Abrams, kick Nasser, tell him to warm Hillary's bed. I did kick Nasser, but he came back. Siren and by the way, I knew he could come back, so don't worry. I wasn't really being mean to Nasser. Siren Jag, Nasser is Little Caesar, like the pizza. Darth Bobcat, I never said kick Nasser before, but kick Nasser. As a message retracted for $2. Thanks for that donation. Rizzy Toxic Fan Lee, kick Nasser. He can't talk to Mike that way. You hear that? Respect. Gilly writes comics and stuff. Thanks for a $5 donation. Bagel Goose, Mike has the best hair of Comicsgate. You think so? Is that true? Is there someone with better hair than Mike? Not me.
There was until I shaved it off.
Yeah, I buzzed my head.
Frank, how's your hair?
I go for the Elvis look on my Indiegogo. You can see the pompadour on there.
Oh, you might have good hair. All right.
Well,
good.
thank you very much.
Yeah, I love Elvis. We're just listening to him today.
We have Edwin as well.
Oh,
Edwin. Yeah, Edwin's got good hair.
No,
look at Mike showing his hair off. Oh, my God. It's so weird.
All right, Matt Hayes 2000. Let's get Lone Star to 6 figures, bitch. We're gonna work on that tonight, guys. If you could help, that would be terrific. Thank you, Matt. $5.
I gotta go to dinner with my wife.
Oh, you're leaving?
Yeah, in a little bit.
All right. You can come back when you're done.
All right.
Matt says those books also have a ton of money sunk in marketing and overhead. That's all mainstream comics are. The profit margin is so slim. Journeyman 121, £2. EVS, what do you think of 2000 AD? I love them. I like Judge Dredd, and that's pretty much all I've ever read. Judge Death is my favorite, honestly. Wellesley 1, so you can buy a rim shot. He gives me $10. Thank you very much. Mr. CPU, YT, YouTube gives me 100% from offensive super chat to charity. Nice. Bagel Goose, EVS is a nudist. Also, YouTube censors the word dirty. I thought about this yesterday. Art, I was thinking about how we need to use nudist as an insult more. Rather than calling people pedophile, which is pretty offensive, I think calling someone a slimy nudist is pretty funny. Because, you have to be kind of a weirdo to be a nudist, right? Or no?
Yeah.
A little weird. I hope we don't have any nudists here. Morianus, thanks for $7.99. Thoughts on Daredevil season 3? It's woke. There's a bunch of people saying it's anti-Trump propaganda, but it's not. It's lifted straight from Born Again. LOL. I haven't seen any of the Daredevil. Have you guys watched the show?
That sounds like
season 1.
As we speak.
Yeah, I'm just not interested. Not interested.
It has its moments, but it creeps along otherwise. But it's got some pretty good fight scenes.
Yeah. Danny Agent 87, get Gilly, creator of Lair, on stream. He is in chat. All right, we can make plans for that. Let me look at his book first. Emery Calumet, Bigfoot Bill is at 112,553, raised by 1987 backers. Cool. Gilly writes comics and stuff. I like digital because I'm on a budget. LOL, new dad. Darth Bobcat, Mindy's on point. I had to switch to PDF on cost. So a lot of people agree with Mindy. Nicholas, I drop $100 at GameStop every Saturday on games I don't play. I got money to burn. Grizz, that's nice. It's a good problem to have.
Not a good investment.
Wait, what did you say?
Not a good investment.
No. Grizak, screw earning cash, found some money in the couch and back to Sami in black and white right now. Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Harry Bergeron, Ethan's model of the movie model, theater equals Indiegogo, DVD equals floppy, streaming equals digital. But Mindy's point of a cheaper per unit in bulk is also a good idea during the IGG. All right. Phil Devereaux, disagree with digital music versus digital comic. Bagel Goose, $5. After further testing, YouTube only censors dirty in a weird specific situation. I'm sorry, Mr. Google, don't hunt me down. Downshift, $5. Variants direct to customers, not through a store that will kick me out for wearing a MAGA hat. My only local comic shop has employees that smell their own farts. Krista Joe, thank you for $4.99. Offering an option and a campaign for newcomers to the creator's work for them to buy the previous books in the series is something important too. Yeah, when John Malin does his second Graveyard Shift, when Mike does his second Lone Star, there has to be a way that they can buy a second printing of the first issue.
I'm gonna be doing that for Brutus book 2. There's gonna be a tier where you can get the first book if you missed out.
Yeah.
Hey, my wife's ready. I gotta cut out.
All right, bye, Mike. See you later.
Bye, Mike.
Enjoy.
See you, Mike.
Donut Swan, Ethan's strategy seems solid. Signed graphic novels, then chop them into comics, then digital. These guys are capping their earning potential with digital and no high value tiers. I love Mike's CCG idea. Daniel Clooney, thanks for $20. Hey, EVS, congrats to Art for hitting $30,000 in black and white. Art, that's great news. I appreciate all the love you guys are giving to the Tommy Gun dolls on Indiegogo, personal book sketch, sticker, and bookmark. Love to be on next week. All right, Daniel. And your book does look good. I think you can come on. Antonio Malpica, why is Critias so awesome? I love that guy. I don't know.
I know. It's because he's friends with Donald DeLay.
Yeah, and here's Critias again. If you don't back black and white, regret will eat you alive. Just a thought.
I like that. I like that thought.
Yeah. Mindy left. Was I mean to Mindy? Yes or no?
No.
I hope not.
I don't know what's going on.
No, you were honest.
Yeah. Channing McDaniel just pitching in on a pie for my Uncle Ethan. Thank you for $2 for that pie. Buck Rogers, $5. Ethan for president, making the world better with art and truth one day at a time. Siren Jag, $5. Is it that Bigfoot Bill has 1987 backers, or that Doug hasn't washed his hands or brushed his teeth since 1987? Both. Ian Howe, did we scare Mindy off? I hope not. Yeah, I just said that. It's like, I don't know. Jay Ishiro Finney, $10. She had eyes that could make men kill. What began as a simple missing persons case pulls P.I. Hank Flynn into a dark underworld of ghouls, god, and vengeful witch cults. Case file Arkham on Indiegogo now. Good for Jay Ishiro. That was a great pitch. Yeah. Mindy probably had to tend to her baby. It's not you, EVS. Says classy to me. Good. Yeah, I didn't want to, again, I don't want Comicsgate to become something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just
you got a good model. The way it is, it works. You're delivering a good product. I mean, you guys are the best, and putting your books out and quality stories, and just cranking them out like the big name comics do. This is value. People know that.
Yeah. Darth Hamer just goes, Ethan only reads F and super chats. Darth, I just proved you wrong. No, I don't read. I read the chat, and then sometimes the super chats pile up. But I mean, people who buy super chats, I have to read them. It's important. It's respectful. But I do read the chat, when I'm talking. So don't worry. I just can't read everything. Frank's book, Galactic Comet. Frank, what is Galactic Comet about anyway?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. Well, two kids are hurtled decades in the past and then across the galaxy to discover secret that their grandfather was a space explorer for the military, and the family has to gather powerful energy-based elements and construct the means to return to their time and place. They visit various worlds and encounter underwater alien serpents, deranged robots on abandoned space stations. They run into blobby octopus frog-like creatures. There, I said it. With a taste for desserts. There's a lot of danger and imagination for our heroes. And I wrote this as a page turner to see what happens next. And, you know, guys, this is a book geared towards kids, and it's also geared toward, the kid at heart. You know, when my kids were little, we'd read a storybook before bedtime. They'd ask me to do different character voices, and they do the voices too. And that was a great bonding time for us. This original story, this is perfect for that niece or nephew, younger cousin, or little brother or sister in your life. And you can read the story to them. You can have that bonding time acting out the characters and just have a good time and laugh. And how many of us, when we were little, storybooks were what we had to escape into fantasy. And for some of us, discuss to escape a hard family life or broken home. And that was true for me. Standing up and being that person who bonds with that younger relative makes you a hero in their life. And sometimes we need to put our pieces back together to make sure someone else is whole, right? So, Definitely. Hey, everyone, buy the Galactic Comic storybook, create that bond, and be that hero to a kid who needs one. And it's a fantastic story. They'll keep everyone riveted on what happens next.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. So many people ask me, they say, is your book going to be okay for kids? And, that's kind of the thing. I mean, we need to provide comics that are okay for kids, especially since Comicsgaters oftentimes are people who, aren't regularly buying comics, and they're concerned about the content of what these comic books are. So Galactic Comet is safe for your kids, and it is going to be a page turner, et cetera, et cetera. So the link is in the description. If you want to back Galactic Comet, we would appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, it's great to have you on, Frank. Lone Star Heart of the Hero. Mike just left. This is my big goal right now, is just to get Mike to 6 figures, Frank. He's this close. Do you see what I mean?
Deserves it.
He does deserve it. John Malin crossed it easily, like months ago, right? I mean, a long time ago. Never Cold says, "Hey EVS, what's the print run looking like for your regular cover and variant cover?" I actually pulled those out. Let me just, if I can find them real quick, I'll actually tell you the exact print runs if you're interested in knowing. And by the way, it's not going to be I'll probably overprint it because I want a crate of these in my garage. I don't even know if I would even sell the overprint, but I definitely want some of these to kind of stick around.
That's weird. I feel the same way. I'm glad you said that, because for some reason I just like the idea of having a volume of my books somewhere in the house.
Right. Yeah. It's so neat. I mean, I've never felt this way before about, anything that I've ever done, where it's like I desperately, like, the book itself is so important to me. Where did I put it?
Yeah, I don't feel that way about the DC Marvel stuff I've done, but I do about the creator stuff that I've done.
Okay, here it is. I sold 9,356 of the original cover of Cyberfrog, Blood Honey. I'll probably print 10,000, I would think, of those.
Wow.
So there will be an overprint of 600 of those that I will keep in my house. And then I sold 2,033 of the Salamandroid variant cover. So I will probably print 3,000 of those. Let's just do a round number of those and keep those in the house as well. So that's the print run of Cyberfrog. So we're looking at all together, I guess 13,000 will be printed of Cyberfrog. And then
where are you going to store all those things? And that's a lot of books.
Well, they're coming. I'll store the overprint fairly easily here, but I mean they're all coming to the fulfillment center.
Oh, okay. So they're never going to get to your house.
No. I'll tell you off the air how this is all going to work if you want.
Okay. Well, I've just seen pictures. Have you ever seen pictures of people getting their books from the printer and they just fill up their garage? Like, it's a lot. That's a lot of books that you sold there, Ethan. That's a lot of books.
Yeah, I know. I'm really, I'm grateful. I'm impressed. I'm surprised. But I think we can sell more. I mean, that's not enough. It's just not enough books for me. I want to sell way more than that. And we're going to try again. Rainbow Brood is coming up. They're anticipating February, I think. We're talking about February with Indiegogo. to get Rainbow Brute up and underway. So it's going to be next year. I don't think I'm going to do it. It's a bad idea to do it for Christmas. It's a bad idea to do it the month after Christmas when everybody's broke. I think if I run it February, March, April, people are getting their tax returns. It just seems like it'd be a safe time to do Rainbow Brute.
March is perfect.
Yeah. Fan Advocacy Network, thanks for $1.99. I want a black and white Cyber Frog, but not for $60. No, I would just do the same thing. I would sell it for $25. If that happens, I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't do that, honestly. Why wouldn't we just run off black and white? I could probably sell 1,000 of those. If I sold 2,000 Salamandroid variants. So why not? Yeah. James Dean, creator of Conflict, Claws Out, is now live on Indiegogo. A video will be done soon, but I went ahead and dropped some uncolored pages in. Oh, that's kind of cool. We'll have you on, James Dean. And Jay Ishiro Finney says, Case File Arkham has 2 weeks left. Can I still be on? Of course you can. 2 weeks is plenty of time. Well, let me look at the book. I still haven't. Everyone send me your books and let me look at them, and don't take it personally if I say there's no room for you. Because we have a lot of people. We are running a lot of different campaigns right now.
I will say I have talked to Jay Ishiro, and he sent me copies of Case File Arkham, and it is actually a pretty cool book. It's black and white noir meets Lovecraft.
Really?
And the art in it is really nice. It's a detective story back in the day. So I would definitely vouch for Jay Ishiro. And he talks like Vox Day, so I'm not 100% sure that he's not Vox Day.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. What do you mean he talks like Vox Day? What's that?
Like the same pitch in their voice.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of maniacal planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Vox Day do an Israeli wine review the other day. He has his own channel, and I was like, what's he doing here? And I always look to see if he's talking about me, because he talks about me all the time. So I always look and see if he's talking about me. And he wasn't. He was doing an Israeli wine review. And I was like, I love Vox Day trying to be sophisticated. I'm going to smell the cork. All right, Vox. Israeli wine. It was pretty funny. Let's see. What is with John's avatar? John, you want to explain your avatar?
Yeah. So Mike Miller does a program on Blacklist Universe called Night's Watch. And it's every Friday. We just finished it right before I came on here, but I represent Team Joffrey on there. It's for comedic effect. So, because everybody else they're just talking about Game of Thrones. So I'm in there mixing it up a little bit.
So for people who don't watch Game of Thrones, who is Joffrey?
Joffrey is a young man that was put into a situation that he wasn't prepared for. His father was murdered at a young age, and it was thrust upon him to have to burden a kingdom. He may not have handled it in the best way possible, but I think for a kid his age, he did the best that he could.
I would say he was the biggest dick on the show ever, and I couldn't wait for him to die. I couldn't wait. He was horrible. He's the worst kid. And it's funny because my favorite show on HBO, other than The Sopranos, was probably Rome. Did you ever watch that?
No, I think that's on Netflix though. So if it's good, I might watch it.
I don't think it's on Netflix because it's an HBO original. So it's probably okay. You have to they're still charging for it. So I think if you have, I don't know, look up Rome, look up HBO's Rome. It's 2 seasons, and it's a quick educational trip from from Julius Caesar, all the way to the death of Mark Antony and Cleopatra. It is awesome. It's awesome. Nice. And that's why I love the war campaign, Rokabir Kumar. I like being called Caesar because I like that show. So I'm willing to completely go and cosplay Caesar and do that whole LARPing thing. Rome was awesome. Ancient Rome was awesome.
Yeah, so that does sound cool because I watched the show on Netflix. It was called Game of Empires, and that's kind of what they brush across, but they go over a much wider span of empires. But yeah, so that's pretty interesting. I might have to check it out.
I'm telling you, John, you will be so glad you did. You will say, "Oh my God!" You'll be addicted after the first episode. It's all about being. It's from the standpoint of 2 legionnaires in ancient Rome, but you get to see everything. The whole Oh, and Cleopatra's so cool. They show you what weirdos the Egyptians were. Like, you get used to the ancient Roman culture and how sophisticated they are, but how sexual and everything. And then, you go over to Egypt and you meet Cleopatra and what she was probably like. I mean, it's historically pretty accurate. And what her little brother was like and everything. And you realize the Egyptians are such weirdos, and the Romans are trying to interact with that culture. And it's, I'm going to watch it again. I think that's what I'm going to start watching again. Rome.
Nice. Yeah, I'm interested.
Yes. The Egyptians were weird. For another thing like that, HBO had a show about John Adams called John Adams. And when John Adams and who goes with him? Benjamin Franklin. They went to France, and they meet the French people of the 18th century. It is so funny. Weirdos, just complete weirdos. And Americans, Americans actually interacting with the way French people were back then. So fun. Just great stuff. Everything HBO was great. Matt V says EVS is turned on. I get excited about stuff like this. It's really good. All right, so Black and White Remastered, still selling copies. I mean, every time I refresh this, look, $30,485. Fantastic. Did we sell any Lone Stars? Let me just look. Yeah, it'd be nice to. Oh, we did, John. We did.
Excellent.
We sold a couple.
Nice. Great.
Yeah, guys. So I backed Lone Star when it first started going. I do believe it's an $80 tier. That's what I backed, and that donates. I think now it's like 20 books for each $80 purchase. 20 books go to the troops. So if you're interested in supporting the troops with a patriotic comic that kills werewolves and vampires, then I bought the $80 tier, so I definitely would recommend you guys also get the $80 tier if you're interested.
Absolutely. All right, let me read a couple more super chats. Let's see. Frozen Solid, having higher tier variants at a higher price is inherently exclusionary and pretty anti-Comicsgate. Yes. It will push average consumers away to hook the whales like app games do. That model has a half-life. I do agree. I think that's not the way Comicsgate is supposed to be. That's not our theme. Our theme is to be consumer friendly, over everything else.
Yeah, for a $60 book, man, that for me personally, that would have to be one heck of a book. So, again, if someone else does it, more power to them. Anyone can test the market however they want. Mindy can test the market however she wants. But for me, that's too high for me.
Well, that's this. It's also secondary market kind of stuff. Like from us, we have to sell at a certain price point. Now, if somebody buys a copy of Cyberfrog and they want to resell it for $60, that's on them.
Yeah,
and that's fine. But we can't do that. That's not what we're gonna do.
Yep.
Daniel Cooney, thanks for $5. Just went over 19K. Thank you for supporting the Tommy gun dolls on Indiegogo. Did you really?
Wow, nice.
That's great. Congrats. Fan Advocacy Network points out that C. Edward Selner is a Michael Moore cosplayer. Wow. Yeah, that is true. He does look a little like Michael Moore, but we don't want to be. Do we want to be mean to him? Maybe a little.
Who would we be mean to? Michael Moore or C. Edward? What's his face?
Welcome, Donald. How are you?
That's a good point.
I'm trying a new headset out tonight. I don't know how it's working.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good so far.
Good.
Let me talk about. Oh wait, let me do this first. Detective Dead by Critias.
Oh, thanks, EVS.
Hey, no problem. Let me put this in the chat here.
Hey, you feeling better, man?
No, my throat is dry right now.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
I had a cold yesterday, and then I sweated throughout all night, and then I still got the dry throat.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna put the link in there. Detective Dead, and then we got I think Brutus is in there already, isn't it, or is it not? It isn't. Yeah, I gotta put Brutus in there. Yeah. You guys cover for me when I'm doing this. You guys have to pretend to.
Yeah, so let's go, everybody. Come on, let's get Lone Star to the six figures. Thank you. This is a 6 figures club. We got to get it going.
That's it.
It's very subtle. I appreciate you. Yeah, good stuff.
Hey, Ethan, when did Cyberfrog first come out?
It first came out in 1994, and it was cool, man. The whole thing about Cyberfrog has always been very personal to me. I went out, I took a bus all the way out to Elkhart, Indiana, where it was being printed. It was being printed by Hall of Heroes. And they were kind of like a born-again Christian comic book company. And so Cyberfrog was anything but born-again Christian. It was, you know.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
I bought it when it first came out.
Really? Okay. So it was but they published it. You know, they were good enough to publish it for me. And I had to take a Greyhound bus from New Jersey to Elkhart, Indiana, which was like a 16-hour drive. And I remember just listening to my headphones, being 19 years old, being kind of like, you know, I don't know, like a beatnik artist, like I was, like a little hippie, and just doing it. And I was going out there to pick up a crate of my comics and to do a signing at a comic shop, my very first signing. And nobody came to see me. Nobody. It was Hall of Heroes. It was me and Matt Martin and Trent Kanuga. We did a signing, and 0 people showed up. And I was like, that's what comics is all about right there. That's what being an indie comic book creator is all about.
I've been there. That's sad times, man.
But it didn't even matter. I was like, why would anybody come out to see me at all? What I came here for is my big crate of 250 copies of Cyberfrog #1. And I got it. And I remember walking around giving them to homeless people. Here's my comic. Read my comic. Like an idiot.
Oh, no.
I wish I kept that crate.
No kidding.
I walked around Philadelphia Comic-Con, like giving them to everybody.
Almost people were like, who is this freak?
Yeah, but it did. It was my comic. You know, I did a comic book, so it means a lot to you when you first do it. And I feel that now. You know, it's like I feel the same way. I feel like this comic book is going to be my comic book in a way that I haven't had a comic book out in such a long time. It's so much more meaningful when it's yours and not a big company's.
Oh, yeah.
So that was 94, right after Kurt Cobain died, and I remember drawing, you know, Cyberfrog. Yeah,
it was a sad day.
Yeah, it was a sad day. It was weird.
Were you a Nirvana fan?
Yes.
Do you think that if Kurt was still alive today, that he would probably be on the wrong side of our fence?
Probably.
I mean, he'd be totally SJW, right?
I think he wouldn't care.
No, you would want him to not care. I mean, on the other hand, you know, it's like, I think he was always kind of defiant. Like, I never felt like, first of all, people forget this, but Kurt Cobain and Eddie Vedder didn't get along. You know, Eddie Vedder was always the more kind of mainstream, like fake ass, like definitely going to be, like he had the looks of a Hollywood star. And he, you know what I mean? Like he was just a poser. He was a lot more of a poser. And there was this rivalry between the two of them. And so I remember when Kurt Cobain died, Eddie Vedder happened to be on Saturday Night Live that week. You know, Pearl Jam was playing, and he held up a hand that said Kurt with a heart on it, drawn in marker. And I was like, shut the, you guys hated each other, you know, enough of you. But yeah, so I want to think that Eddie Vedder, being kind of the, you know, SJW that he is, maybe Kurt
Cobain would have forced Cobain over to our side for sure.
Possibly. I mean, you look at like who real punk rockers are. If you actually, the reason why you don't know like how most of these like kind of punk rock bands, like what their politics are, is because they're right wingers. I mean, look at the Ramones. Look at what's left of the Sex Pistols. They're all crazy Trump supporters. You know, the Ramones are gone now for the most part, but what's left of the Ramones, and you know, Joey Ramone was a Republican. So you want to think that punk rockers would kind of bend right towards freedom. But I don't know, man, the peer pressure. What do you think?
Yeah. I think for the most part, he'd be on the left. But yeah, I think with you bringing up the Vedder thing, you know, if that was still going to remain, I don't know. If Axl Rose was also on the left, I think Cobain would definitely be at least where I am politically, and saying screw that.
Oh, he hated Axl Rose.
Yeah.
Those guys, yeah. But I mean, you never know. He could have grown up out of it. I honestly, like, when Kurt Cobain died, I was like, all right, grunge is dead. I was really into it. I mean, I wore flannels. I was like, I really liked that stuff. I liked that whole movement. Listened to the music, but Kurt was the heart of it to me, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
when grunge was popular, it worked out for me because I was already in the flannels and ripped jeans because I was poor. So, and
Right,
living
yeah,
in
that's good.
Michigan, so hand-me-down pants, hand-me-down shoes, everything.
Yeah.
So,
Fit right in.
yep.
That's good.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, I have to say, we were talking about this the other day. I was like, the early '90s were great musically. I mean, I think about from 1989, the albums that came out from 1989 to 1994. And I don't think this is just because that was my, some people kind of live in the moment that they were dating, and when you're young and you start to, when you first lose your virginity, like the music that's on the radio at that point becomes your music forever, I think.
That's so true.
That's true.
But
Yeah, you're right.
so for me it was like 1990, and that kind of everything then, but it was better. I mean, Depeche Mode's Violator was their best album ever. It's like there were so many. U2 was great. Nirvana came out. 9 Inch Nails. Everything that was on the radio was better then. And then as soon as Kurt Cobain died, it became I Smell Sex and Candy, and then like NSYNC, you know what I mean? The Backstreet Boys, everything just fell apart.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Where do you think that Nirvana and Kurt Cobain would be? Like, let's just say Kurt Cobain didn't die. Do you think that they would still be making relevant, great music today?
No.
Yeah, I do. I think Kurt Cobain would. I don't think the rest of the grunge movement would.
Yeah,
so
Nirvana wouldn't. Kurt Cobain would.
So do you think Nirvana would have stayed together? Because there's an element there that was never exploited while the band was together, and that was David Grohl.
Dave Grohl never would have blown up if Kurt Cobain had still lived.
So you don't think that he may have stepped up over years and
he would be writing. He'd start writing, but for Nirvana. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
and
Kurt
he
would have pulled an Axl.
David, yeah, maybe. David was always upset. I remember reading magazines at the time, and I bought a magazine when I was 19. I'd buy rock magazines, and there was a magazine that had Depeche Mode on the front, advertising their new album, and they looked all cool and beardy. And then there was another article, right, like on this magazine. It says David Grohl. A quote from David Grohl: "Kurt's a junkie, and I hate him." And it was like, I read that article, like, what's going on? And David Grohl was like complaining and bitching that Kurt was just, screwing up left and right, and not, had a bad attitude. And, so you could tell that like David Grohl was the professional one that was trying to handle the business of Nirvana, and Kurt was, out of his mind. So I don't know, man. It's tough to speculate. It feels like so many great artists have died, and none have left. Like Kurt Cobain left a big hole in my heart, like John Lennon. It's like, it's not fair. Like, I think about it all the time, how it's not fair.
Should have been Dave.
Lost him. Should have been Eddie Vedder, honestly.
It should have been Ringo Starr.
I know Eddie's a little left and all that stuff, but man, I still really dig his voice.
I don't know, listen to some Nirvana. I have everything Nirvana. And then that song that they put out, that you're right, was so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they had this one song that they were working on their next album, and it's like they put it out, and I was like, oh my god, like this, their next album after In Utero would have been so good. It would have been radio friendly, like everything. They were going more radio friendly, which I kind of liked. I didn't like their first album. I really liked Nevermind. I really like Bleach. I really liked In Utero. In Utero was my favorite. That's hard for me to say. In Utero was my favorite album by them, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the best album.
Heart-Shaped Box kicks so much ass, and that video kicked ass too. Damn, I wanted to be Kurt Cobain.
That cover that they did of the Bowie song, that thing is so amazing. What is it? The
Man Who Sold the World.
The Man That Sold the World. Yeah.
I like Silverchair, but wasn't that like kind of like an Eddie Vedder knockoff? The kid that was singing like him?
Australian.
They were doing Nirvana. They were trying to be Nirvana. Yeah.
Silverchair?
Silverchair was trying to be Nirvana. You listen, they imitated them. They imitated their videos. They imitated their look, and they were trying to imitate their sound. And they did come back around in the 2000s with another album. They'd grown up, and it was good. Like, it was really experimental and good. And I remember being on the Jinx World board. Everyone hated me on the Jinx World board because I was a Republican. And I remember just saying like shitlord things. And they were like this. They showed a video from Silverchair, like their new song, and they said this. And the guy who posted it said, "This is what it must have felt like for people in the '60s when the Beatles were experimenting."
What?
And I said, and that's more like what people felt like in the 1940s when Dr. Mengele was experimenting. And I got banned from the board for that.
That's all.
So,
Yeah.
Really?
yeah, I did.
Well, the best part about Nirvana and grunge was just that it put an end to hair metal and ballad metal, which I think had run its course. So I'm always thankful for that movement in music.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they wiped it clean. I mean, that's something I think about music now is like it seems like we still live in, musically like the 90s. Like there's nothing that's really like when Nirvana came out, it's like if you're listening to anything in the 80s before, like you sucked. But everything post Nirvana, like you can even now go back to the 90s, all the way back to the 90s. And I have not seen another music style come around and wipe all this away. So everything's just a remix of everything from the 90s, really.
Well, look what the 90s produced in terms of the male today. It's not good. Gone. Remember, in the 80s, it was rock and roll, night party, all, sleep all day. But it's like now it's, in the 90s, what was that? I'm a creep. All these songs that are like, self-deprecating. It's bizarre stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that when it was happening. I was like, why is everybody filthy and complaining? Like in the 80s, like it was all about, I'm a badass. I bang a lot of chicks. The Darkness is great. There are two great bands that are out right now. The Darkness, and what's the other band that does the kind of heavy metal parody kind of thing?
Steel Panther.
Steel Panther. They have a song called 17 Girls in a Row that is so funny. If you haven't heard 17, it's filthy. Don't listen to it around your kids. No. But if you're a man, listen to it with headphones on, and you'll just, I'm serious. You will play that in your car when you're by yourself. It's like, I've 17 girls in a row last night. The last one came. It's so, dude, it is
audio
awesome.
Viagra.
Yeah, it's like I had to tip the maid $100 bill to clean the wet spot off the bed. I mean, just some of the best writing I've ever heard. Oh no! And it's so funny. And it's like, man, that's when like rock and roll used to be super masculine, and super like that is pure 100% testosterone. Fantastic. Margaret Miracle's like, lyrics, please. Well, look them up. It's called 17 Girls in a Row. And honestly, it's filthy, it's dirty, but it is so funny.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful. Go in cautiously. And it's not just that song. There's a lot of songs.
The whole album. It's like that. But I mean, I'll sing that. I'll find myself singing that song in the shower, and Andrew will be like, "What are you singing in there?" It's like 17 girls in a row. Yeah, awesome, absolutely awesome. Love on the Rocks with No Ice, but the Darkness is great. Yeah, the Darkness were just, man.
That second album, they had the same engineer or producer that Queen did, so that stuff is like symphonic. It's epic sounding. That's great production on that album.
Well, they have a song called "Get Your Hands Off of My Woman," The Darkness. That's another awesome song, man. I hear that song. It's got a great bass line, and it just booms. And it's like, "Get your hands off of my woman, motherfucker." And you're just like, man, what a great line.
They're
what
like
a great song.
Yeah, they're like AC/DC meets Queen. Like that's how I would describe that band.
Yeah. I'm in the mood for that right now. I'm in the mood for rock and roll. I was listening to Sinatra all last week, but that's because I was drinking a lot. I was like, I would take a break from work. I'd go upstairs. Andrew was making great dinners. I'd pop open a bottle of wine, put on like the Rat Pack on YouTube, and we just settle in. And I was like, I drank 3 nights in a row, just enjoying that kind of music and lifestyle. Yeah. And I kept telling Andrew, I'm going to Atlantic City. Right now I'm in the Rat Pack. I'm going to Atlantic City. And she's like, don't you go to Atlantic City. So I didn't. But now I'm in the mood for rock and roll. Yeah. People are saying my favorite song is Hey Mickey. No, it isn't. That song sucks.
Yeah, it's not your favorite.
That's not my favorite. It's like my 8th favorite. If any, it's like not even close to number 1. Yeah. All right, let me look at these. Let me see if you guys are supporting these books. Let's check it out. You know what we're talking about right now, what we're promoting. Comicsgate. This is what it's all about. Graveyard Shift by John Malin. By the way, guys, this is. You know, I hate to say this because people think I'm showing deference or preference. I would say to John Malin. I am. I would like if I were to take one of these guys to a desert island to do comics with me, and everyone else had to die in a nuclear apocalypse. It would be John Malin. You know, me and John Malin would do comics.
Yeah.
And you know, would it be sad? It'd be sad, you know, that we lost Art, we lost Nasser, we lost Critias, we lost you know, who else is in the chat right now? I can't say. Donald,
Frank.
Frank. Yeah, it'd be sad that we lost them.
Yeah, but we would have our Art. You would have your piano. I would bring my bass, and we'd make some music.
We'd jam, and it would be fun. Yeah. It'd be fun. So, Graveyard Shift. The reason why I like it is because it's a good idea. It's a superhero comic mixed with horror, which always works. John, what do I mean by that?
How horror always works?
Well, no. How Graveyard Shift is superhero horror.
Yeah. So basically, we're kind of along the lines of Spawn. You know, we don't have any capes, but yeah, I mean, when you take the like the tropes of, you know, the good superheroes and the good horrors, you know, it's always like an experiment that went wrong. That's where you get, you know, Spider-Man. That's where you get the Hulk, Frankenstein, all these things. Yeah, the Hulk, and you know, all the good stuff. The Fly. It all comes from that. And so we took these ideas, and that's what we started at with the experiment gone awry. And through that, I mean, just like, you know, again, you know, you have Spider-Man, Hulk, all these great tropes that are all thrown together. But you got big action. I mean, if it was a movie, it would be along the lines of Underworld. Like that would be almost the exact same type of world of the fast machine guns and the big bombastic scenery. So, but yeah, it's meant to be fun. And this book is to get it all started. And after we lay down the groundwork of what's in here, the follow-up book is the big conclusion to it. And then everything runs from there, but I just can't give anything away because, you know, people want to know what other monsters show up. But you know, you're going to get your dose in this one, and you're going to get more in the next. So our ending of this one will be a pretty big surprise for everyone.
There's a big monster in this.
Oh, there's a lot of monsters.
That might be a hint.
Yeah,
a huge monster.
Well, we have an entire ocean.
Oh, dude. All right, that sounds awesome. Everyone, back Graveyard Shift. It's in the chat right now, or it's in the description. You know, buy your copy of Graveyard Shift. Available for a limited time from John Malin at Comicsgate. You know, support this comic.
The 31st, right, John?
Yep, ends on Halloween.
It's over on Halloween, so make sure you get it. Lone Star Heart of the Hero by Mike S. Miller. Totally awesome book, totally awesome guy. Allegedly has the best hair in Comicsgate. I am not going to compete. I'm not going to question that, but other people will. Mike is this close to 6 figures. So buy Lone Star. Support Lone Star Heart of the Hero today. Black and White. This is the big book of the moment because RT Bearer only, wow, look at $30,636. Art only has 2 days left. 2 days remaining on this project. Art, what is this about anyway?
It's a 48-page graphic novel, and thanks to all the comic gators and everybody who's pledging right now, we just boosted this up to a 54-page graphic novel. So there's going to be 6 brand new pages that are going to be added to the 48 pages, and it is the line between justice and vengeance is blurred when an ex-spy and a brewery heiress join forces to take down an extremist with a growing army of bots. And and so this is a remastering of the original 94 series that I put out through Image 25 years ago. And it's amazing. And you guys are really, I can't even put it into words. I'm so amazed at the generosity, and I will not let you down. This is going to be a book that I'm going to be proud of forever, and I can't believe that it's actually going to happen. And I think at this point I can say that there will be a volume 2, because we got to that point where I feel confident that we can do a volume 2 for you guys as well. So thanks for giving me the opportunity, EVS, and thanks to all the people that have supported it.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you on here, Art. You're a real professional, and this is a fantastic looking book. Galactic Comet by Frank Martin. Frank Martin is new to Comicsgate. We just brought him on board. Galactic Comet is about 2 kids who are hurtled across space and time to discover the secret of their Navy veteran grandpa. Is he a vampire?
He's not a vampire, no, but he does live for a very long time through living out in space. But yeah, we already know the pitch of the 2 grandkids. The young grandfather, he learned how things work in deep space while he's out there. He uses his experience to try and get the kids back to Earth and back to their own time. And the twist is, at the beginning, the kids don't reveal that they're his grandkids. So we follow the family as they recruit robots and aliens to help them retrieve powerful elements to get to the means to get home. So yeah, there are lost alien catacombs and bizarre creatures, and they try to chew them up for lunch. And there's man-eating plants that secretes a gas toxin that paralyzes the victims and swallows them whole. So it's a lot of fun stuff like that. And the Comet, if nobody doesn't already know, the Comet is the spacecraft that the grandfather pilots. And we got a little backstory on that real quick here. The Comet is powered by reverse engineered wreckage from a New Mexico UFO crash back in the 1940s. And the Greys, who the UFO belonged to, are on the hunt to find the comet. They track the radiation from the power source, and they are intent on ripping out the comet's heart and disposing of the family in a very unpleasant way. So great story, a lot of imagination, and this is a way for kids to rediscover imagination and just have a lot of fun doing it.
Cool. Very good. So back to Galactic Comet. The link is in the description. Charles Wright says, Ethan, people are telling me there's dissent among Comicsgate fans, and they're telling me they're afraid to speak to you. Well, they should be, because I will have my army of bots, my Russian bots, descend upon them. What is going on? Send me messages. Indiegogo, Detective Dead Crimson Moon, $24,965. Awesome. Totally awesome. Critias, what is this about?
Yeah, it's about a 1932 detective that he's brought back to life in modern day time to stop some criminals from his era who also got unique abilities. And at the same time, he discovers that the man that murdered him and his family is also running around. So he's got to spend, his basically his new life trying to hunt these guys down one by one.
Awesome. So Detective Dead, by the way, you're only like $35 away from $25,000, dude. You are right there. You're going to be at $25,000.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
You gotta make that happen.
I'm trying to get to that stretch goal, the 30K stretch goal, where EVS burns his Ouija hat.
Oh, yeah. $30,000. I'm going to do that. I will actually burn my Ouija hat. It should be fun. And last but not least is the incredible Donald DeLay. Donald, are you in here?
I am.
Oh, hi, Donald.
What's up?
Donald has a comic book called Brutus the Badass with Nasser. Look at that, 30,000. Congratulations, 30,000.
Yeah, that's all because of the readers in Comicsgate and you guys here on the stream.
Tell me about it. What's Brutus the Badass about?
Brutus the Badass is basically a 48-page story. It's about an intergalactic bounty hunter that ends up confronting a past that he has no memory of. It's a passion project that has everything that I love to draw in it, everything that I love about comics in it. Big dumb brutes, hyper action, gorgeous women that kick ass, a little bit of ultra violence. I just want to read and draw fun adventures and make comics that don't take themselves too seriously, and that's what this is. It takes advantage of everything that comics should be.
Outstanding. Awesome. All right, guys. So back Brutus the Badass. Let me read the rest of these super chats, and then we're going to call it a night. Cyberfrog with the Green Lantern ring says Fan Advocacy Network. That is awesome. Ian Howe says, do you listen to any current bands? I've mostly given up. Yeah, I do. I listen to a lot of music. My favorite let's see. I like pop music. I like Charlie XCX. I think she's a genius. I think she's awesome. I don't know. I listen to almost everything now these days.
Go listen to Ghost to anyone that is looking for a new band. Their
Ghost is awesome.
I almost said that out loud. Yeah, Ghost. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just discovered them today, actually.
Yeah, when it comes to rock bands, let me think. What am I listening to that's current? Not
Go
a
check
lot.
out Frog Leap Studios. That guy is awesome.
Yeah. Donut Swan, Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim was on when I lost my virginity to Bagel Goose. Do you like that one, Uncle? I do. It's a good song. Custom Songmaker, $10. Thank you. Cobain died on my 14th birthday. Had already gotten a Nirvana cake. There were 5 fans in my school, then 200. The songs were even more depressing then. Went to church camp, no Nirvana for a week, cured.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Say goodbye to Kurt Cobain. Sir Percival the Gallant, thoughts on Tool, especially the song Prison Sex and the band music video, which has no sex, nudity, or violence, but obviously deals with rape. Tool, I liked one of their songs in the 90s. I was never a big fan of Tool. Heather Swain is a big fan of Tool.
Oh,
from
you like
Cyberbrother.
Sober?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it was called. They had a video, they had a music video that was on, and it was like poop being pushed through a pipe.
That's all of their videos.
Is it?
Yeah. If anyone likes Tool or interested in Tool, check out Lateralis. I think that's one of my favorite albums.
Nobody's really interested in Tool.
Yeah, I'm not really into them. Old Wave says In Utero was the greatest album ever. It's close. It's really, really good. It's one of the best albums of the 90s. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
KRS, it's a strong possibility that Kurt wouldn't be an NPC. His best friend and Nirvana bassist Chris Novoselic is a libertarian. Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know that. And I think that's it. All right, cool, everyone. So I wanted to thank everyone for being a part of the show tonight. Thank you guys for being on the panel. The links are still in the description. They will be if you're listening to this on a replay. So support these comics. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for the morning show. 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to especially thank, let me pick one of you at random. I want to especially thank Critias tonight for everything that he's done for Comicsgate.
I appreciate you guys.
For all you do, this Critias is for you.
And Critias just sent me a $20 super chat. What if Batman was a 1932 detective resurrected in modern day to stop criminals from his past with unique abilities, including the man that murdered him and his family? Well, that's what Detective Dead is all about. That's a great pitch. Use that next time.
Yeah, I've been trying to develop it. Asking Doug for some help.
Speak that aloud. That's great, man. And thanks for the super chat.
No
All right,
problem.
guys. We will see you tomorrow. Let me thank somebody from the chat at random. I want to thank Gilly Writes Comics and Stuff. Thank you so much, Gilly. You represented the audience well tonight, and it's always a pleasure to see you out there. You have a great name.
He just showed up.
Yeah. No, I think he's been there the whole time. I think it's a he. I'm not sure. Max Hammer says EVS likes Fabio but doesn't like Tool. What a tool. Got me there. All right, bye everyone. See you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.